What it do, everybody? It's your boy King Crowder checking back in with another edition of a book review that most people have not read or honestly understood that's important to you. This time I'm checking in with something that is very good and very inspirational that I actually just finished reading not too long ago. It is called The Little Green Book. The reason why The Little Green Book is such a powerful item that everybody should read and understand. Number one, it breaks down any misconception on how when the Great Migration movement happened among Black Americans inside the United States, how it happened. This book was such a powerful tool because a lot of people that were migrating from the South to the East Coast or the West Coast, mind you, if you live on a California or somewhere like that or in Texas like I do now, no Blacks lived in that area prior to Jim Crow. The reason why, there was something called sundown towns. This book displayed safe havens and places that Black Americans could travel to during this time period and be safe. The reason why this is so inspirational is that these guys had a whole network. It was published out of NYC by a guy named Victor Greenwood, and it was called The Little Green Book. It was an annual trip to provide safe places that where Black Americans could eat during Jim Crow, stay at, get the gas filled up, and all these business network that was inspired and where they could travel to safely. What do I mean by that? Before this time, during the Great Migration and Jim Crow, there was no place you couldn't stay at white hotels. You had to have a roadmap or a breakdown on what was safe. Because if you went to the wrong town, there could be some issues or situations that could occur. So these guys had to funnel in their own network and protection within their society. They had their own business planning. They had their own estates where they could stay, food network, and distribution centers. All the Negroes had to do at that time, which they called themselves was Negroes at that time, was to make sure they have a proper vehicle and a proper place to go. The reason why this is such a big deal is because it kept being published for over 30 to 40 years. It first started being published around 1936, and the last publication came out right when the Civil Rights Activist Bill and the end to segregation in the South began to end. So you began to see stuff turn over in the South because, they were still pro-segregation. They didn't want integration to happen. So when this movement started to slow down, you really began to see the developments and stuff start to sprout out. The reason why I would think this book is such a predominant read, because you can actually see where the integration and safe places were. So many misconceptions come out of this. Number one, there was no safe places in Texas. Let me repeat that again. There were no safe zones in Texas. So you could not move to Texas and be safe. Number two, if you were leaving, let's say Poughkeepsie, Mississippi, or someplace like that, Natchez, Mississippi, you had to know the safe routes to leave because there was a good chance that you had to stay overnight. And with you staying overnight, you needed to protect yourself. And if you stayed in the wrong town, you had to know that something was going to happen to you. So to protect yourself, this purchase and this word of mouth had to spread fast. It's really crazy when you think about how ironic that is, but I think everybody should look at this literature and visually see why business landmarks were at one time. One place is understood that nobody probably knows about is the states that had the most production in most places. Memphis, Tennessee. Even though Memphis has a lot of trouble as it once did, Memphis had a huge safe haven for Blacks around that time. Places in Mississippi, Alabama, Arizona. There was a lot of places that we were scattered across that could be safe for you to stay if you needed to. I would definitely add this. It's a brisk read. The landmarks on what most important that we need to go visit and see to learn different parts of history. History is a study of cause and effect. I already went over that. Definitely think that need to be added to your collection. Why? It opens you up. Two, it makes you look at the good, bad, and the ugly. And number three, it's just awesome to learn and read it. Highly recommend everyone do so. Highly recommend that we all learn, baby. King Crowder checking back out with another history nugget that you all should know. You all should learn from because it's very important too. I'll check in with you next time. Peace.